Mr. Deputy Chairman, I give my support to the bill. The bill carries out one of the major recommendations of the Bhor Committee on Health Survey and Development, of which I was a member. Now, one of the objects of this will to be provide an all India Institute for the advancement of medical knowledge and the training of medical personnel. It will provide refresher courses for the physicians working in our towns and villages. It will provide, I take it, facilities for higher instructions in modern medicine. I think the health minister, if I may say so with respect, was a little far too apologetic in defense of modern medicine. We don't stand today where we did 4,000 years back, when our ancestors had creative minds and did a very great deal in the world of medicine. The world has moved far ahead during those 4,000 years, and if you want to benefit by medicine or by the facilities which medical science offers, you must be prepared to go to doctors who have knowledge of physiology, bacteriology, pathology, and who can perform the various tests which are necessary in order to diagnose diseases. There is a very great deal that can be done by way of research. Now, I should have liked some more light to be thrown on the organizational side of the institute. One of the questions which we had to consider was whether this institute should not be affiliated to the Delhi University or to any other university. For that matter, we came to the conclusion that it should function as an autonomous institution, having more or less the status of a university, but I do not on reflection like this segregation in education. The tendency to have special institutes and call them by the name of universities or to devolve on them the functions of a university has, I am afraid, been carried a little too far in this country. We have an engineering university and we have, I suppose, a technological institute. Should they call themselves universities? Now, a university is a place where knowledge is integrated. It is a place where you have researchers and professors of various branches of knowledge working and cooperating together for the advancement of learning. It is an advantage to have a big institution of a specialized character affiliated to a university. I wish, therefore, that a decision had been taken to affiliate it to the Delhi University, which I believe is a federal university, and if necessary, the constitution of the Delhi University could have been modified for that purpose. Another thing that I would like to say is this: I have gone through the bill and I find that far too much has been left to be filled up by the rules to be made by the executive government. Now, by merely reading the bill, I can have no idea as to how the institute will actually function and what the measure of internal autonomy will be that the institute will possess in a note which I had the honor of appending to the report of the board committee. We emphasized that the institution must not be allowed to develop in such a manner as to become a place for mutual admiration. We wanted, therefore, provisions to be specifically made in the Constitution for an external element on the academic bodies of the institution. Now, I think that the institute will have four representatives of the medical faculties of Indian universities to be nominated by the central government in the manner prescribed by rules. But the institute is not a medical faculty. The institute will have a governing body, and there will be many other bodies which will work as part of the institute. What I have in mind is that on the academic bodies which will frame the curricula and which will be responsible for the conduct of examination and for prescribing all the standards, there should be representation of an expert character provided in the constitution itself. I should like Mr. Deputy Chairman the position to be clarified in this respect by the Health Minister. What is the intention of the government in regard to this matter? How do they propose the constitute the bodies which will be responsible for the framing of the curricula, for prescribing the courses, and for the laying down of academic standards? And how do they propose to maintain a liaison between these institute and various medical bodies in the country? I think that at least we should have been given some information on this aspect of the matter, because I find that almost everything is going to be left to rules which are going to be framed hereafter, and we have no clear picture before us as to how these institute will function. That it is desirable to have this institute will be admitted. It is becoming increasingly difficult for our young men to get facilities for higher education in the bigger universities of Western countries. Those universities have their own problems. They have got to think of providing for their own young men first, and it is essential that we should have an institute in this country of a very high character, where it is possible for research to be carried on under almost idle condition. We do not want to lag behind in the race for knowledge in the modern world. So far as knowledge and research are concerned, while we have produced eminent physicians and while we have produced good practicing surgeons, it is a matter for regret that our output so far as medical research is concerned is poor. There are some people who have researched to their credit that one reason for the lack of output in research is that the abler physicians in our medical institutions are allowed private work. They devote too much time to private practice. I have known professors of pathology and anatomy